everybody, welcome back to another episode. Now we're gonna do a recap. I'm gonna try to do it quick of last ones because you can see I've got a common snapping turtle with me. But last time we talked a little bit about our Bengal cat friends. Now Christian on this video is gonna have to be careful because the common snapping turtle has an incredibly long neck. Now take a look at how I'm holding this guy. I'm not holding him like I would hold a regular turtle. Because that neck is so long, he could reach back halfway across his shell and try to get it in my hands if I got too close to that beak. Now take a look at that beak. I don't want to come anywhere near that thing, right? Now he's still not even fully grown yet. He's gonna get probably 25% bigger than this. Now, the common snapping turtle, they're very well adapted, so you can find them in a lot of places, all the way from Canada down to Florida. Now, you might have heard of the alligator snapping turtle before. They're gonna get quite a lot bigger than this guy, but I still think that's a very formidable beak. Now, he might show us how far he can put that beak back. Look at that. Now, this is not one of the animals we get out every day, so he's still getting used to handling, as you can see. I want Christian to be careful when he's when he's videoing with this guy, but man, it's cool holding an animal of this caliber, and because he's got that strong beak, he's very strong with his legs too. Just picking him up was a little bit of a chore. You can see I'm sweating a little bit because this is an impressive animal. Super cool. I love that beak. Now, they've got quite a long tail for a turtle. It's one of the areas where I am able to stabilize his body, because if I'm just holding underneath, it would be very hard to stabilize. And like I said before, I do not want to put my hands on the top shell of this turtle because that beak is so strong. But I love this guy. One of the favorite animals we have here at the aquarium. He's just an eater. He can eat and eat and eat. He does great with that. He loves different types of fish. They can even eat crustaceans. They're gonna eat things that they're gonna find in the marshy areas, right? So like I said, Florida, but all the way up to potentially Canada. Now there's actually been a couple studies to try to figure out what the lifespan in the wild is for this turtle. They actually did a study in Canada. Now it's an ongoing study. It's not 100%, but they were estimating upwards of 100 years this guy is able to live. Now that's a very long time. Now we've talked about, our friend Storm and Norman before, how he can live incredibly long time. But a smaller turtle like this, I was very surprised when I learned that information. But wow, what a cool guy. Now, I'm kind of glad that he hasn't shot that neck out yet, but if he did, you would really see how incredibly long this guy's neck is. But what an impressive animal. You'll have to find him in our rainforest exhibit here in Utah. We have snapping turtles at a couple other locations as well. I know New Jersey has one, but man, what a cool creature. And like I said, you gotta be careful when you're handling this guy. You gotta know what you're doing. So if you happen to live in Florida or someplace where common snapping turtles are, be cautious. Now I know you can might wanna see if you can get him off the road, but you have to be careful. Now let's take a look at his underside here. He doesn't have a lot of shell on the underside. It's kind of open. So if you take this guy and start dragging him on the ground, you can cause lesions and cuts that could get infected in the wild. So if I were you and you find this guy crossing along the wild, just let him be. If he's on the road, do your best, but be very careful. Now, their scientific name, it has something to do with their neck. The last part of it, I believe, is serpentina, having to do with that really long neck. But wow, I love these guys. I love snapping turtles. All right, now we have 3 turtles that we're gonna be showing you today. This is the first one, the common snapping turtle, but I think he's more than just common. I think he's impressive. The next one I'm gonna show you has some really great adaptations to be able to camouflage perfectly well in their habitat. All right, now this is my next friend. This is a matamata. Now it's a matamata turtle here. Look at how insane that head is. I'm gonna hold him so you can get a good look at that. Oh my gosh! Look at how long that neck is. The head, it looks just like a leaf, right? Now, the matamata loves to hang out in marshes, places where it's really mucky. There's leaves in the water, it's not clear. That's where this turtle's hanging out. Take a look at his shell as well. You can tell he's got the perfect shell for that type of camouflage. Look at that. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. This is a stinky turtle. He smells very strong. Now, just holding him, I'm taking little gag sessions, right? Because he's a very smelly guy. But look at how impressive that neck is. Now, eyesight. These guys don't have very good eyesight at all. Extremely poor eyesight. But how they make up for it, look at these little flaps of skin that you see on his neck. Now these are actually sensory, they can sense water movement. So they love to eat live fish and almost about anything that could fit into their mouth. But they're gonna use those skin flaps to be able to sense movement in water. And how this guy eats, he doesn't have crushing teeth that he's gonna use to be able to eat that food like the snapping turtle, but he's got something that he's gonna vacuum the water in. So he sucks it in really quick and sucks the fish into his mouth. It's really cool. He doesn't even have to touch it. He can suck it right into that mouth. Now take a look at that nose. This is another thing that helps this turtle. Now he's got that longer nose. He can use that kind of like a little snorkel. When he's in the water, he does not have to fully surface to breathe. He's gonna take that long neck, poke his nose out of the water, and that's how this guy can breathe. Take a look at those feet now. Fully adapted to life in the water. Webbed toes make him a pretty good swimmer, although he's not winning any races underwater. He's kind of slow and steady, wins the race. You can tell he's a little bit more chill with me holding him, but I'm gonna be honest with you. This is tiring. He's a heavy turtle. He's not very light. Now, I don't know the exact weight of this guy, but they can get upwards of 50 pounds. They get pretty big. My next friend that we're gonna be bringing out is starting to escape from his little area there, but wow, matamata. Some really great adaptations make him perfectly suited to life underwater and for camouflage. He's great at hiding himself. Just look at that shell. I mean, this is crazy. When you see this turtle, it's like no other turtle you have ever seen before because of that head, because of this shell. I mean, even the bumps along the sides. It's just such an impressive animal. I love that we're able to have these guys in our collection here. We have them at just about every site, I believe, and they are so cool. But I'm gonna be honest, if you ever see one of these guys out and about, you're gonna smell it because he is a stinky turtle. All right, now let's take a look at the next friend. We're gonna definitely compare shells here. Take a look at how this shell looks, really rigid and lots and lots of spikes and bumps and everything like that. My next friend is completely different. All right, everybody, now take a look at this. This is a Florida soft shell. Now, it's kind of hard to describe what this shell actually feels like. Now, remember how we talked, I could not do this with the snapping turtle or I'd be in some serious danger here. But with this guy, I'm not as worried about him swiping around and grabbing me. But well, this shell, it's leathery. So he's got this cartilaginous shell. It's not the bony shell that I showed you before, right? Completely different. Super soft, hence the name soft shell. Now, they also have an incredibly long neck. It's pretty cool. When you come to the aquarium, you can see this guy with that neck all the way stretched out. It's very, very impressive. But like we said, the Florida soft shell is obviously from Florida. There you go. Hopefully you guessed that at home. Now, one interesting thing about these guys is the females, they're gonna get about 3 to 5 times larger than the males. So if you see a great big one, it's a female. Males are not gonna get nearly as big. Now it's kind of silly, but look at that tail. Just comparing that from the snapping turtle, That tail is nothing, right? Super, super small tail. I'm not holding on to that. I'm just supporting him on this bottom because he's not as active as the snapping turtle was when I picked that guy up. But still, very, very interesting. Nice, smooth shell. Now they've got a really cool way of camouflaging themselves. It has to do with the coloration on the top of their body and on the bottom of their body. Now take a look at that. The bottom of his body is completely white. So if this guy is in some water, anything beneath him sees white. It looks like the sun. But anything above him looking down is gonna see that dark brown coloration. So they have that kind of counter shading camouflage, which is really, really impressive, I think. Really interesting how that, did he just spook me? I think he did. He just moved a little bit though. But that counter shading is really, really cool. Now this is a pretty much purely aquatic turtle. They're not coming out of land very often. You're gonna find snapping turtles and potentially matamatas out of land way more than you'll find this guy out of land. But the only time he's really gonna need to get out of land is if he's gonna be laying eggs, well, if she would be laying eggs or basking, right? Now this is also a pretty heavy turtle. You can see I'm taking a lot of breaks on the table. Don't leave mean comments about me underneath. They're heavy turtles, right? It takes a lot of exercise holding these guys up. But the heaviest one ever recorded, I believe, is 94 pounds. I would not want to hold a 94-pound Florida softshell, especially because when they're wet, they are so hard to pick up. Now take a look at that face. Can you see? They actually have a beak. I don't know if this one's showing it to us, but they actually have a beak. Look, it's kind of say hi. Watch him bite your nice camera, Christian. I'd laugh. Now they actually have a beak. And just like we were saying with the matamata, they have that snorkel-like nose, so they can reach their neck up and they can be able to breathe without having to fully surface their bodies. Oh, he's looking at you. So cool. And their feet have that same kind of webbed feet. They're actually even more webbed feet than the matamata like we were showing you before. This is a very good swimmer. Like I was saying with the snapping turtle or the matamatas, they're not winning any races. This guy, he probably could. Very, very good at swimming, very quick underwater. I love turtles. So today, we started it with the snap, right? There you go, I helped you laugh. We started it with the common snapping turtle. We talked about that really strong beak and how you have to be careful. You need to know what you're doing before picking up one of those guys. We talked about the matamata. What an incredible shape with that head, that shell, perfectly adapted for camouflage, living in the marshes with the leaves and the mud. Very, very good at that. And we talked about this interesting looking turtle, the Florida softshell, with that interesting shell made of cartilage, not bone. And they're from Florida. Well, folks, I really, really hope you enjoyed this video. I'm gonna be honest, I was looking forward to this one because I just love turtles. They're super interesting, so many different species, and I could just talk for hours and hours about them, but you probably wouldn't want to sit that long. Well, hope you enjoyed it. Make sure, if you're not already subscribed to this YouTube channel, subscribe right now. Like this video, share it with your friends, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and we'll catch you on the next adventure.